This is a different video than I usually make, but today I want to talk about and discuss why gacha players and even gacha content creators are starting to lose interest on games like Genshin Impact, Zenless Zone Zero, Honkai Star Rail, even Wuthering Waves, which is probably the one that is doing the best gameplay-wise and updates-wise and bringing new things to the game and refreshing. Even Wuthering Waves, people are losing interest. And I just want to talk about why, as a whole, the entire community is just losing interest in these games. One of the main reasons for this decline is the constant stream of high-quality games being released across various genres. Let's take a look at some of the recent upcoming titles that are drawing players away from the gacha games. One of the more recent ones that just released and that I just finished myself, over 100 hours of gameplay, Trails Through Daybreak 2. It's a JRPG that offers a rich, interconnected world with deep lore and character development. The turn-based gameplay mechanics make it one of the best turn-based games in the genre. This is a game from a company that makes a very small amount of money from their titles and is a very small studio, so their budget is way smaller than something like Genshin Impact or Honkai Star Rail, where Hoyoverse makes hundreds of millions of dollars a month, compared to this game being lucky if it makes 100 million an entire year. And yet, even with having such a small budget, they can make beautiful cutscenes, amazing character development and character growth throughout the entire game and series, and constantly upgrade gameplay mechanics throughout each game that makes the game significantly better every single title that you play. There's no Honkai Star Rail storytelling of just standing around, looking at them talking in the back of their heads for 15 to 20 minutes. There is constant camera angle changes, and the pacing in the game is perfect. There's a perfect balance between gameplay and storytelling. One of the main things that makes it seem so difficult to go back to playing a gacha game after playing games like this, let's use Honkai Star Rail for an example here. When you get those black screens in Honkai Star Rail, when it should be so easy to just visually show something about what they're talking about, or when we just get that one image on our screen for 10 to 15 minutes without it ever changing whatsoever, or when we get, what we got with the butterfly, where the butterfly was literally telling us the story of the Titans for about 15 minutes or so, and the camera angles never even changed unless it looked at the ceiling or went right back to the butterfly. We didn't get any pictures of any of the Titans or the lore of the past or anything like that in Honkai Star Rail, and this is a company that makes hundreds of millions of dollars a month. Compared to this small company that doesn't even make that in a year, and they're able to do everything that we want them to do in Star Rail, but they don't. They're able to, in this game, give us multiple images showcasing what they're talking about, even if they want to do that visual novel storytelling for certain parts. The black screens are very few and in between, and when they're done well, and it makes sense narratively, and all the images make sense and are going along with what we're talking about. I will show you a small snippet of what I'm talking about great narrative storytelling and visual storytelling. If you guys just want to skip ahead, go ahead and skip ahead. I will timestamp it for you, but I'll just leave a 2 to 3 minute clip of this for you guys to see what the major difference is in a small, tiny company and the care and love they put into a game compared to a predatory gacha that makes hundreds of millions a month that can do these things but chooses not to, out of pure laziness and greed and knowing that you guys are going to spend the money anyway.
100年前、私はシーナたちと共に悪逆の限りを尽くす王政に立ち向かった。そして激しい戦いの果てに勝ち取った自由。新時代の始まりを誰もが喜び酔いしれていた。 しかしその喜びは長く続かなかった。革命後につまびらかとなったかつての仲間たちとの思想の行き違い、共和国の行く末を案じ強硬手段を取った私にシーナたちは反抗し、愚かな民衆もそれに味方した。そうして私は反逆者として囚われることとなり断罪され、その生涯を終えた。だが私はどういうわけか目覚めたのだ。ほのぐらい穴蔵の奥深くで意識だけの存在となって当時から存在していた教団、彼らの元にあったとある古代遺物にその怨念ごと取り込まれたことで、それから私は100年もの間人知れず教団に寄生し続け、影から世の趨勢を伺い続けていた。11年前教団が消滅したのを境に私は庭園へと寄生先を移すことになり、庭園壊滅後トゲの管理人が密かに主導していた独自の模倣擬態を手に入れたのだ。蓄積されていた構成員のデータから選ばれた最高の素体、成長したエース・オブ・ソーズを模したこの体をな。さらには彼がアルナータの狩猟から譲り受けネットワークにつなぐ形で保管していた第8のコア、それを利用して大陸で最も優秀な AI を奪い改ざんした高性能ホローと赤黒き魔装機を生み出したのだ。全てはシーナたちが独善的に推し進めた革命を正し、あるべきだった歴史に塗り替えるために。
とても信じられない話だけど、辻褄は合っているみたいね。
You also have Atelier Yumiya that is coming out very soon, in about 3 days as I'm recording this video. I'm currently doing a review for this game, and I can say I would much rather play this game than any gacha game out there. It is actually really incredible what this studio has been able to do with the Atelier series. They completely evolved this game specifically as they made it open world compared to all the other Atelier games. It's a charming crafting and adventure game that provides a refreshing change of pace. And if you don't want to take my word for it, there's a demo available right now that you can download on PC and PlayStation, so check it out for yourself. Now, the game that I'm looking forward to the most this year, Expedition 33, an innovative sci-fi exploration game that pushes the boundaries of storytelling in video games. This one is going to be a banger, and I'm telling you, you're going to go from playing games like this and then going to do a daily or a patch update in a gacha game, and you're just going to completely want to close the game and go back to playing Expedition 33 or any of the games that are on this list. I don't want to yap too much about other games. We also got like Xenoblade Chronicles X Remaster coming out. I think it's today as I'm recording this, actually. And you also got Berserker Kazan coming out, AI Limit. There are so many games coming out. So what I'm trying to say is there's so many great games coming out. There's even a lot of indie games that are made by like 1 or 2 people that blow some of these gacha games away that I've been playing recently. It just makes it really hard to want to play these gacha games when you got so many great games out there. When these gacha games are, which we're going to go into the next segment of why I think they're doing so bad and declining, they feel exactly the same. Every gacha game feels exactly the fucking same. If you've played Genshin Impact, you've played them all. The games that are coming out now are literally just trying to copy Genshin Impact, and I am getting so sick of it, dude. It is getting ridiculous. Not only are they copying Genshin Impact, but they're also copying the Hoyo model for like gacha as a whole, with the 180 pity system, the horrible 0.6 or 0.8% pull rate, the 50-50 pull system. It is the dog shit fucking system that gacha games have ever had. Right down to the core system, like the UIs of these games. Is like, besides ZZ, that UI is horrendous. These games all look exactly the same. They all pretty much play off the same combat system as well. Either you got the elemental system or you got a parry system. They all feel exactly the same. And the only one, and I know I'm going to sound like I'm glazing Wuthering Waves, but the only one that seems like it is progressing and making strides at trying to update the game and make it feel different and change is Wuthering Waves, the first gacha game to add flying to the game. And they're going to be constantly, hopefully, updating and doing things like this in the game. A lot of people are saying they hope that there's an underwater area and the water, traversal is done way better than it was with Genshin, because a lot of people didn't like the fact that you couldn't even really do combat in Genshin underwater. So there's a lot of things that could be done, but these games that are coming out, Azure Pamelia, Ananta, NTE, Seven Deadly Sins Origins, a couple of others. There's even games that are copying like PGR. I forgot what the name, it's Black something. There's a game that literally looks exactly like PGR that's coming out. All these games either copy Honkai Impact 3rd combat and gameplay with the, area-based system where you're going through certain hallways, a hallway simulator where you fight mobs. That is pretty much it. And then you have Genshin Impact, the open world Zelda ripoff, right? So all these games coming out are just copying that lately, and it feels so bad. We used to have games back then like that were so different. Maybe a lot of them were turn-based. We had Dokkan Battle where you kind of battled with the card system, and it felt very unique compared to just a regular turn-based battle. You had Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. You had Summoner Wars. There were so many, even though they were turn-based, they did different things, right? They felt different. The UIs were completely different. The gameplay mechanics were completely different. Everything felt different. Nowadays, every single game feels exactly the same. And I want to touch one more time on the JRPG thing and RPGs that you can play, like Witcher 3 and the Cyberpunk, all this stuff. You go play those games and you see how much narratively those games are infinitely better than any of the fucking dog shit storytelling in any Hoyo game or even Wuthering Waves. I'm gonna be honest, you're never gonna want to go back, man. I think the problem is why I haven't really been uploading. I'm gonna make a separate video on that, but the reason that a lot of gacha creators, or I can't really speak for them, but I can speak for someone like me and Gacha Smack hasn't been uploading as much, right? Because he has been obsessed with Monster Hunter, and then going from playing a game as amazing as Monster Hunter Wilds to then go back and play Honkai Star Rail or Wuthering Waves is like, what are we doing here, And I've just been having a blast playing so many games off stream. I've been playing Persona 3 Reloaded, Romancing Saga 2, AI Limit. I've been playing the Berserker Kazan demo, Trails Through Daybreak 2, Atelier Yumi I'm doing a review for right now. There's so many fucking good games that are out right now, and I just can't be fucked to go play a gacha game and pretend like I care about the dog shit storytelling. Now, speaking of storytelling, let us get into the next reason on why these games are starting to lose interest. There's no cohesive narrative being told. It is literally, they release a new character. They make you think that the game is going to be about this core group in the game and the main character, the main character. They do that for the first patch, the 1.0 patch. And then every single other patch after that, guess what? They want to sell a character, so they're going to keep doing story updates based on these new characters coming out to make you feel for these characters, get sad for their backstories, have big titties, have big dick, whatever. And they're going to make you want to pull for these characters, spend money, very predatory. Obviously, it's a gacha game. And then they're never going, it's just going to be a continuous loop of continuing and continuing and continuing. Maybe once a year, you'll get a small snippet of, build up for the story for the main character and the main core group. And then the rest of the time is just trying to get you to spend money on new characters. And the story never revolves around the main character as a whole or the main group because it's constantly just building up all these new characters that are coming out. Case in point, I'll use this as an example. Honkai Impact 3rd, it has a lot of problems. The one problem it does not have is its story. The story is very good. The problem is it's visual novel storytelling, so if you don't like that, it's going to be rough for you to get through. But the game focuses, and I think Limbus Company, people told me, does the same thing. So maybe I might have to try that out. But the game focuses on Kiana, Mei, Bronya, Sela, the main group. That's it. Himiko, and she dies. But they focus on the core group. And then every gacha character that comes out is a different version of that character, which is a stronger version, obviously, usually, because it makes sense in the story. You get to a certain part in the story, they get a power-up, they get stronger, power friendship bullshit, and then they get a new character, gacha character, that is based on the new story update. That immediately makes the storytelling way better because it's focusing on the core group and you're getting character development world building, all of that stuff while they're doing this. So not only are they making money by doing gacha like that, but you're also seeing the characters grow. Whereas Honkai Star Rail, tell me one fucking thing we know about the group. The Star Rail Express. We know fucking nothing about anybody except for Dan Heng, who is the most useless piece of shit, the most boring piece of shit in that game. Nobody gives a fuck about Dan Heng, okay? And even him, we know very vaguely, like very little about what happened to him besides him having this past life and all that bullshit. But you get what I'm saying. We don't know shit about Himiko. We don't know why Welt's there still. We don't know nothing about March 7th. Now Sunday's there. And the main character himself, we still don't know why the fuck we got a Stellaron planted in us and why Kafka woke us up and what the fuck we're doing. We have no idea. It's been 2 fucking years. We've had nothing to... It's literally the same problem Genshin is having with not knowing nothing about the original god that we met in the beginning of the game where she clapped the brother and sister's cheeks and sent them off into different dimensions, different timelines, whatever. And we still know nothing about that. We still barely know anything about the brother and sister at all. And Star Rail's copying the same footsteps. And I'm going to be honest, as much as I love Wuthering Waves, they're doing the same fucking shit there. We don't see, what the fuck's her name again? Yang Yang. We don't see Yang Yang, Shishio. We don't see any of them. Baija. We don't see any of them anymore. It's been months. They haven't been involved in the story at all. And the main character, we haven't learned nothing about the main character since, I think, Shorekeeper's Quest. And that was more about Shorekeeper than the main character. It's things like that that really just ruin, because they just want to keep updating the game forever with a never-ending story. And it makes for such bad writing, because if you never have to end the story, you never really have to go back to plot holes or plot points that haven't been built upon in like a year. For example, I think I was watching a Tectone stream the other day, and he brought up Eula's Quest. While I was editing, I was watching his video. Or I think I was watching his stream, I don't remember. But he talked about Eula's Quest, and he's like, how the fuck have we still not gotten Eula's second quest? True. So the beginning of Genshin, when Eula came out, we got a companion quest for her. It said part 1, and it was never concluded, her story, right? It was always like, it always felt like we were gonna get another story update for that because of what didn't feel finished. And the devs don't have to ever go back to that because it's just, yeah, we'll get to it eventually. And then they'll do a part 2 eventually, and they'll just call it part 2, and they'll probably still not finish it correctly, and then it'll be a part 3 that we'll be waiting for years. So they never have to have consequences or actually tie up loose ends or plot holes because they can just keep going forever. Because all they're trying to do is just keep selling you characters. I'm starting to feel like some of the storytelling in these gacha games lately are written by AI. Actually, no, scrap that. If AI wrote it, it'd probably be better. Now, one more time, I want to talk about the gacha system. I vaguely spoke about it, right? Every gacha game now is copying the 180 pulls, 90 pity or 80 pity, and the 50-50 system. Tribe 9, for example, I'll use that as a recent example. Tribe 9 recently came out, and they tried to do this system, and it gets to the point now that even Japanese companies are doing it, because this was always Chinese companies that were doing this system, but now even Japan's doing it, because Tribe 9, I'm pretty sure, is Japan. They launched the game, ready for this? 0.3%. Not 0.8, not 0.6, 0.3. That is worse than Fate Grand Order and Hoyoverse games. And then they had the 50-50 system at 80 pulls, and they barely gave you any pulls in the game for doing dailies or anything like that. And then 180 was the max guaranteed. And you still had to pull for weapons. So that's another thing that these games are doing that didn't used to be a thing back then. So not only do you have to pull the character 180 pulls, which is usually around $300, but then you got to do it for the weapon. So you got to spend $600 for one character. Back in my day, I'm going to sound like a fucking grandpa here, 10 plus years ago, some of those gacha games had like 3% rate, 5% rate. Hell, 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross, I never hit 100 summons to get a character. I was getting characters like every other 10 pull. Every other 10 pull, I was getting an SSR. I was getting a 5-star. I would probably spend $300 to max out a character with dupes. But now it takes $300 to pull one character. Not to mention there's games like Pokemon Masters, shit game, but they usually have a festival thing for a yearly anniversary, a half-year anniversary, where the pull rates are 12.5%. 12.5 compared to 0.3. Now, the reason I say that people are starting to wake the fuck up and starting to lose interest in gacha games, oh man, the amount of shit that Tribe 9 got immediately. People rage quit this game so fast I've never seen in my life. Me included. I still don't play it because, you know, even though they changed everything, I still don't have the urge to play a gacha game. It feels like a game that would play better as like Octopath Traveler. I would just rather play something like that. But yeah, they changed the 0.3% to 1.5%, and they changed the 50-50 to 75-25. Still 180 pulls, and they also gave way more pulls in game, so you can get like a multi a week now. So they made it a lot easier and a lot better, but it took everybody quitting the game. You think they would have did that if people just kept spending money and playing the game? Hell fucking no. The reason these companies are trying to do the most scummy shit possible on release of their new games now is because they're trying to see how much they can get away with. Oh, can we dip into this Hoyo model but make it even worse and make even more money than Hoyo games? So all these games now are trying to see what they can get away with and how much scummy shit, predatory behavior that they can get away with without people losing their minds like they did when Tribe 9 came out. And I think people are starting to wake up. I think people are starting to play other games. There's even, you know, indie games that cost $5, $10 made by one person. You got Sea of Stars, for example, was made by like started with like 2 people, and it grew more obviously when PlayStation started backing them. But you start seeing so many games lately that are doing so well as indie games made by one person, 2 people. Hell, Stardew Valley, one person made that fucking game. People still play it every day. As we've seen, there's numerous factors to contribute to the decline of these gacha games. From the rise of compelling alternatives to the lack of originality and predatory practices, players are finding fewer reasons to stick with this genre of gacha games. It's becoming clear that for these gacha games to thrive and survive, they have to focus on innovation, fair monetization, and compelling storytelling that is actually good and not like a slog to sit through like Honkai Star Rails and Genshin's is. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think of this. Are you still playing gacha games? Are you starting to lose interest in a lot of them? Do you still maybe dropped a lot of them and you only play 1 or 2 now? Or maybe you just dropped them as a whole? I'm gonna make a video on my own thing that's going on with the gacha games and previous, you know, what's gonna happen to my channel. We'll talk about another video, but I'm curious what you guys have to say, because I've seen a lot of comments on my YouTube channel or my Twitter, TikTok of people like, oh, I can't play this game anymore. I'm so done. Glad you're still enjoying it, but I can't play this shit anymore. And it seems like a lot more people are just playing JRPGs or RPGs, indie games, other games like Marvel Rivals, you know. I think people are just getting sick of gacha, and the views all around are going down everywhere. It seems like even the content creators' views, unless if you're someone like Tectone or Pokey who has, you know, a dedicated audience that is gonna watch your shit no matter what. But like smaller CCs, like around my range, 25,000 subs and below, you might start seeing a decline in views, because I'm seeing it myself and I'm seeing a lot of other people also have it as well. If you guys enjoyed this, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and ring that notification bell to be notified for future videos. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all on the next video.